Hello and welcome to another episode of Tabletop Heroes, and today's topic is: do you hit a PC when he's down, or do you stay the rod? Well, fortuitously today I was able to interview a goblin and ask his opinion on what he thought, and here's what he had to say.
Kill, kill, kill!
Well, that's his opinion. Now here's mine, for what it's worth. As DMs, we create the games so we have drama and dramatic flair and tension, and while that is existing, the players get immersed into it. Now when it comes to combat, it tends to change and become effectively a slugfest, where you have high set of hit points either side, armor class, and it's whoever hits the hardest gets to walk away the victory under their belt. That's fine, but where's the drama? Now you can create drama in any combat scenario by the way you speak and the way you discuss things. That's fine also, and it should be done, and the players can go a long way to helping that as well with their descriptions of what they do. But how do you create real scary drama? Well, it's easy. You hit the player when he's down. You'll never see a player sit more bolt upright as when you say, no, the creature does not move on to the next player. It simply sits on your chest and stabs you in the face while laughing its head off manically. Not only will the player sit up bolt right, so will the other players. Because the rules suddenly have changed. Because what they've been used to is a player will go down, playing character, and then they'll expect to roll their 3 life and death saving throws. The other players will give their condolences prior to the rolls and say, don't worry, we'll get to you. And they will probably carry on their initiative order of what they're going to do themselves. And they just simply, or they may, I suppose, they may age straight away, but for the most part, they're generally busy themselves. Now, as I say, the rules have changed. Now they have to act, because if the player is struck, it's an automatic or critical, which means they've lost 2 of their 3 saving throws, and 1 more hit will kill them. And the chances of being hit, of course, is high. It's advantage to your attack within 5 feet, and it's a critical, and if you do use critical cards, well, that's even more brutal, and I do. So suddenly you created tension and flair and dramatics. Suddenly the players all have to take note. They can't just carry on, and it's amazing how quickly players will rush to their fallen comrade's aid almost immediately. Now here's where the drama happens. If another player is fighting 2 or 3 opponents, and suddenly it's his turn, and he has to rush to that person's aid, well, he can't do a fighting withdrawal. He does literally have to run. And that's an attack of opportunity, thus creating drama. Or he may be a cleric, and possibly he can cast from a distance, though I'd believe most of the cure spells are physically touched, so once again he has to move off, although I am sure there are some. Either way, you're putting another character at risk, and that's the whole point. You're creating your drama. Now, I have to say, depending on the lethality of your game, you have to bear a few things in mind. He can only be hit 1 more time and then he's dead. Now, your goal is not to kill the playing character. Your goal is to create tension. You've done that. Now what do you do? The next round is coming up. It's the monster's go. Maybe the players haven't got to the character. Maybe they did. Maybe they failed to kill the monster. But for whatever reason, it's your turn. And the other player is looking at you with longing eyes and praying to God that you walk away. And that's the point. What do you do? Well, you have about 3 choices. 1, for whatever reason you give, he ceases the attack and he goes after another character, and maybe that actually is about right. If it is under attack, it will look to what's attacking it, not what's down. Or 2, it says, what the hell, I'm going to stab it and I don't care. If that is the case, you then have 2 choices. 1, you can fudge your roll behind the screen and say it missed. Or if you're not into fudging rolls or don't believe in that, you can roll and leave it with the lap of the gods. If you do this, of course, be prepared that you may have a playing character death. Depending how well invested the player is into his character and how far in the storyline it is, you may not necessarily be willing to do this, unless of course you put in safety nets to keep the character alive, or at least brought back to life later on. That is the basic fundamentals of it all. You only really do it for drama. If you really wanted to kill a player character, or any of them for that matter, you can do that anytime. You do not need to wait until they're unconscious. So, yes, I would advise, do it. Not all the time, but when it's appropriate. Like if you have bloodthirsty blood orcs who are known and you've foreshadowed it, that they attack fallen enemies even in lieu of attacking living ones, well, there you go. The players kind of know it's coming, even if they don't fully appreciate it. Or maybe it's a wild animal that after dropping the player character decides to maul it one more time. Not everything will attack a fallen playing character, but then look at it from the other side. If you have a playing character who's fighting a creature and the creature falls down, normally it goes to 0 hit points and normally the player will move on. But what happens if you say, actually, it falls to the floor but it's still kind of twitching? You're not really sure actually if you've actually killed it. Well, that player now has a dilemma as well. Does he waste a round slaughtering it, or does he say to you, well, as a free action, can I just kind of stab it and move on? Well, that's fine. You can even give that one as like a freebie away, almost like a test. And this is the test. If a playing character is willing to stab a creature that is down, well, why wouldn't a monster? And that's the sort of realism coming into it. Once again, though, it comes down to personal choice and preferences and how your game is run. If you're literally not into the risk of ever losing a playing character, well then simply don't do it, and your creatures always move on and the players always get that chance to survive. But if you do like a little bit of realism, and more importantly you like to have the drama of seeing a player sit bolt upright and the other players, well then yes, sit on that chest and stab him in the face for all you're worth. But do your best probably not to try and kill the character if you can really help it. That's my take on it. I like dramatic flair and I like the drama. I like the players to believe that they're in lethal danger, even when I know they're not. And for the most part, they're not. But they don't have to know that. And nor do your players. Make them believe that their characters are in risk, and they'll always have a bit of tension, especially when they enter battle. And when they enter battle against creatures which they could be mauled and stabbed against, well, they might think twice. Well, that is my take on it, and I wish you all good gaming, and may you all live long and prosper. Until next time, if you like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you soon.